See, God looks at us in our current state and sees us in our intended state. Your breakthrough may not come the way somebody else got their breakthrough. Your breakthrough may come a totally different way. God has given you the victory, and because the triumph is yours. Health is a mindset. Wealth is a mindset. Prosperity is a mindset. 1 Chronicles chapter 12. And we're going to talk about these two words. It's time. In the King James Version, verse 32. And of the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do. The heads of them were 200, and all their brethren were at their commandment. In the Living Bible translation, it says, from the tribe of Issachar, there were 200 leaders of the tribe with their relatives. All these men understood the signs of the times and knew the best course for Israel to take. I love that. It's time. How many of you understand what the word pivot means? Anybody know what pivot? When I think about it, I think about basketball. Immediately it comes to my mind. A pivot is a point where you can change directions to go forward or backward.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That pivot is a point where some are going forward and some are going backward. Some are moving off course because they don't understand the times and the seasons, what Israel ought to do, what the church ought to do. So they'll be pulled aside by other voices. And other voices will move them off that pivot direction and miss the purpose of why they're on the court. That pivot, I can go any direction. It has to be determined. And it's determined by your understanding what time it is. Glory to God. The reference of the sons of Issachar in 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32, it says that this people, this tribe that came to David, and they had a unique position in the sense that they were able to comprehend or understand and read or perceive the times or the seasons in which they were living in. And they were able to tell the entire nation what to do. The implication is, if you don't know what time it is, you don't know what to do. It also speaks in the implications, if you don't know what time it is, you're probably doing the wrong thing and doing it with the wrong people. If life is measured in terms of time, then time wasted is life wasted. If you measure life in time and you waste time, you're wasting your life. That's why it's so important for you not to allow people to come in your life and waste your time. Because whenever they waste your time, they are wasting your life. You don't have time to have a wasted life. Time without purpose is life without meaning. God created time and he put man in time, but he doesn't live in time. You go to the book of Genesis, the Bible says, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. God created the beginning, but he didn't begin with the beginning. God was before the beginning began. God began the beginning, time, created man and put man in time. But he doesn't live in time. God lives outside of time. That's why God can see the past, the present, and the future at the same time. Because the Bible says he declares the end from the beginning. He's the Alpha and Omega. He's the beginning and the end. You see, God starts the start before the start got started. God didn't begin with the start. The start began with God. So God began the time, but yet he doesn't live in time. He lived outside of time. You and I live in time. Now, when you're dealing with God, you got to be very careful. Because Peter said, a day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. And 1,000 years is as a day. In other words, when God tells you, I'll see you tomorrow, that can be a long time. When you're dealing with God, because God created time, he doesn't live in it, but put us in it to live in it. So when God deals with us, he's able to see the end from the beginning, even in the middle. So when he talks with you, he talks about something you're headed to. So when God created time, he carved it out of eternity. He knows it's going to be fine. He says, hey, everything is okay. Everything is fine. Everything is right. Why? Because he knows what's going to come. Because he knows what's coming. If God says, prepare yourself, he's telling you something that you better anchor yourself in. Because he always sees the end from the beginning. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. To everything there is a what? Season. And a time to every purpose under the heaven. Everything has a what? Season. Watch the scriptures. To everything is a what? A season. That means everything has a season. If it's a thing, it has a season. Next it says to every purpose, there's a time under heaven. So what is God saying? God is saying that everything that he created has a purpose. Turn to somebody and say, you got a purpose. Say, you were created by God. You're not an accident, a coincidence, or you didn't just a part of a happenstance. You are here on purpose, for purpose. Everything has a purpose that he created, and that purpose for which it was created has a time attached to it. It's a time attached to it to what? To fulfill its reason for being. So everything that has been created on the planet, including you and I, was brought into existence for a purpose. And that purpose has a season attached to it. And there's a time in which that thing is supposed to fulfill its purpose. Therefore, time was created for purpose to be fulfilled. Say that back to me. Time was created for purpose to be fulfilled. One more time. Time was created for purpose to be fulfilled. Now, time was created for purpose to be fulfilled. It also speaks of whenever there's something that is created on this planet, God attaches a time to it. For every purpose under heaven, there's a time. That means there's a certain allotted period of time. That means you and I were born to do something, and we don't have forever to do it. All we got is a season. When God took you out of eternity and put you into time. He brought you here for a season. Which means you don't have time to waste time, because time doesn't wait until you discover your purpose. See, you don't have time because there's a certain season, there's a certain allotted time for that purpose that God created you to fulfill. There's people who die at 20 and buried at 80. They never knew their purpose while they were here. If you don't know why you were born, time is still moving. Listen to me, young people. Listen to me. The Bible says, remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth. Why? Because you want to discover God so you can discover his purpose for your life while you're young, so he can use your life to affect a generation. Clap your hands and thank God for that. Amen. That he wants to use you. Time was given to fulfill purpose, but that time manifests itself in seasons. For example, our year may be measured in terms of winter, spring, summer, fall. But all of that is the year. The year is the time, but the manifestation is the season. And when seasons change in time, you got to change with the season. That means everyone is born in time, but everyone got to catch their season. When summer comes, you don't wear an overcoat. You're going to look strange because you haven't caught your season. When winter comes, you don't put on short pants. And you're going to freeze your off. When seasons change, you got to adjust yourself. I'm going to tell you something. God's goal for the church today in this season is maturity. And God is getting the church ready now to mature and to not move as little babes and little children and adolescents. As a matter of fact, he's demanding it. I really believe God has called you and I to raise a standard in this city and to be a people of the kingdom that understand the divine government, divine order of God, so we can bring restoration and healing and reconciliation to all those he has sent us to. Yet we have to deal with truth in love. 2,000 years old and we're still comparing ourselves with each other. No matter of fact, we're still prejudiced. We still got all kinds of internal jealousies and backbiting. As a matter of fact, the church is still an adolescent. And Jesus is not marrying a little girl. He's demanding that we grow up now. And growing up means responsibility. Say responsibility. Say it again. Say it out loud. Say it louder. One more time. And that's what God is looking for. You see, God looks at us in our current state and sees us in our intended state.